What's going on, everybody? My name's Matt Dean. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about my theory that I have for Doctor Who in 2023 and what could possibly happen, what the storyline could potentially be, and yeah, based on what we already know from filming that's been happening in Camden and Cardiff and things like that, this is just going to be my thoughts, but hopefully if this is true, the 60th anniversary celebrations are going to be fantastic. Let's get into it. But first, if you are new to my YouTube channel, please consider subscribing. I'm currently this close to 3,000 subscribers and I really want to get there as soon as possible. But anyway, into my theory. So we already know that based on set leaks that David Tennant is returning to Doctor Who and is more than likely going to be playing the next incarnation of the Doctor. Not necessarily the 14th Doctor, but the incarnation after Jodie Whittaker. My theory goes that at some point during the Centenary special, which I believe is the next episode which happens in autumn, it may not be Centenary, but basically the episode that happens in autumn, Jodie Whittaker's final adventure, something happens and obviously we know the Master is going to be involved. Now this is going to tie in somewhat to the Timeless Child as well, because I really believe that it's going to be all tied up nice and neatly at the end of this. What we will discover in the Centenary special is that the Timeless Child wasn't in fact the Doctor, but is in fact the Master, which would make sense. The Timeless Child, the story goes that they were found by Tecteun underneath that giant portal in the sky. They were taken back to Gallifrey and they were experimented on. Those experimentations led to the evolution of the Time Lords, granting them regeneration and thus creating the Time Lord Empire, which then led to them creating time travel and becoming the great species that we know them to be. I don't believe that the Doctor is the Timeless Child. I believe that it is in fact the Master, and it would make a lot more sense if it was. Because think about it, we know that the Master went crazy at some point, and the story that we officially got was that he looked into the untempered schism as a child at the age of 8, saw the entirety of time and space and just went crazy. The Time Lords sent the beating of the drum, the into time, which went into him, which made him go crazy. That was the official story that we got probably about 10 years ago. However, now with the realization of the Timeless Child being an actual thing, and that is the reason why the Time Lords are the Time Lords, it would make a lot more sense that if it was the Master and why he actually went crazy. Because the Timeless Child was experimented on, essentially tortured into regenerating multiple times so that Tecteun could get the regenerative power for herself and then give it to the other Time Lords to create the Time Lord Society. Now that is something that would make anyone go crazy. That is something that would make anyone bitter towards Time Lords. And who's the most bitter person that we know towards Time Lord Society? It is in fact the Master. So that's theory number one. The Master is in fact the Timeless Child because he was tortured by the Time Lords to regenerate, to give them the power of regeneration. He is the Timeless Child. He is the reason why the Timeless Child theory exists. It's him. That's my theory. Now, with regards to Jodie Whittaker and her regeneration, she's going to find out that she is in fact not the Timeless Child and is in fact, you know, just a regular old Gallifreyan who became a Time Lord at the age of 8. This is going to really mess with the Doctor because we know that she's been going through somewhat of an identity crisis trying to figure out who she is. Ever since the Master basically told her that she was a Timeless Child, she hasn't been the same and she wanted to know who she was before she was the Doctor. And yeah, like I say, an identity crisis. And this is going to follow on into her next regeneration. So something's going to happen. She's going to be killed or, you know, shot or killed or something's going to happen and she's going to end up regenerating. Now, during this regeneration, because she's going through this identity crisis of firstly believing she wasn't a Gallifreyan, she wasn't a Time Lord, she is in fact a Timeless Child, and then the realization that she's not, it's going to send her into a bit of a spin and she's going to degenerate into one of her previous incarnations, that being firstly David Tennant. Now we know we're going to get 3 specials before the 60th anniversary. Now I believe what's going to happen is the first special is going to contain David Tennant. We're also going to see Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi at some point as well. Whether that's degenerating or regenerating back into Matt Smith and then Peter Capaldi, or whether it's going to be another version of them coming to help this Doctor. I believe we're going to see them at some point. Then the entire 60th anniversary celebrations are going to be very much focused on the Doctor discovering who they are again, and we're going to see some old companions come back, namely being Susan. We're obviously going to see a couple of companions come back in the Centenary special, but we're going to probably see a little bit more as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Captain Jack come back, and I would absolutely love it. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but if we could probably get Amy Pond and Roy Williams come back as well. We already know Donna's coming back, so all of these companions and all of these Doctors coming back are really going to celebrate the essence of Doctor Who, especially since the revival, whilst also bringing in companions from the classic era as well, so the Doctor can rediscover who he/she actually is. And all of this is going to amalgamate into a new lease of life for the Doctor, who's going to regenerate fully happy, fully restored into Ncuti Gatwa. I could be wrong, that might not happen at all, it could be something completely different, but that's the theory that I have. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and while you're there, leave a like on the video if you like the video, because that really does help the YouTube algorithm to recommend this video to more Doctor Who fans. And until next time, see you later.